Hi folks, and welcome back to another fly tying tutorial. What you see in the vise is a hare's ear suspender. So without further ado, let's get into it. The hook in the vise is a Hare H300 barbless hook. This one's at size 10, it's on a medium wire and it's finished in black nickel. The thread I'm going to be using today is from Semperfi. It's the Nano Silk at 6/0, and as you can see it's white. Now, as always with the Nano Silks, I am going to get a little bit of super glue onto the shank of my hook. If it's the first time you're watching one of my videos, you'll know I always do this with Nano Silk and the Hare hooks, especially the black nickel finish. It just helps adhere the thread to the hook, where wax doesn't really cut it with the Nano Silks. So I'm just going to take that away there. Now, as you've seen, the suspender part of this is pretty much just a bit of foam, and how I've attached that, there's a little bit of preparation involved, and I'll stick a video up in the corner there of how I get to this point. So once I've got to that point, what I do next is I put a small hole using my bodkin needle just through the middle of the foam. And the reason for that is I want to bring it over the eye of the hook, like so. Now, I don't want to catch this in particularly tight, so I'm going to just push back towards the eye slightly, and then I'm going to come with a couple of loose turns just to trap that in. Now, as I get it a little bit tightened up, I can just add a few more turns. It will still move about, the super glue won't have dried yet. And then what I want to do is come in with a pair of old scissors. Don't use your good scissors on foam, it does blunt them very quickly, and just take off some of the excess and just tilt my vise, it'll be easier. And then what I can do is bring it back around, and then I can simply tighten up on that. Just tidy it up a little, doesn't need much tidying. We are going to cover it in some dubbing. So I'm going to bring my thread all the way down, right around the bend, and I'll pause it there. I'll just straighten that up slightly. That's looking pretty good, and I'll just turn it that way on so you can see what it looks like at the top. And that's what it looks like at the bottom. That's what you're trying to achieve, that sort of disc, if you like. I suppose it looks a bit like a disc. So for the rib of this fly, I'm going to be using some Mirage tinsel. This is the opal in medium, and I'm going to catch that in just at the bottom here where I've finished my, well, I'm going to try and catch that in. I just slipped up there, but there we go. Now, I've got to be honest, folks, I'm not a huge fan of this style of fly. I prefer CDC versions, if I'm honest, but it does have its place. CDC takes a lot of TLC when you're on a still water, or even a river for that matter. It does take a bit of looking after, whereas these sort of style suspenders, they take no looking after whatsoever. They kind of look after themselves, if you like, and they will sit right in the surface film of the water. So, the body of the fly then, I'm using some trout stalkers dubbing here. It's just natural, it's basically squirrel. You can use hare's ear. If you don't have any squirrel, hare's ear will do the job just the same. And I want to dub this on. I'll do it a little bit at a time. And I'm going to bring that up towards the thorax. Now, I want it to be fairly thin at the bottom of the fly, and then increasing in girth, if that's correct, girth. Increasing in girth all the way up towards the thorax area. Now, how would you fish these? I would fish them in a team, probably different sizes, the biggest one on the point. Now, I'm only using a size 10 on this particular fly, because it's just easier for tutorial purposes. They're much more effective in smaller sizes like 12, even down to 14. So I've got that caught in now, and with my mylar rib here, I want to catch the first turn on the shank of the hook. So that's at the very bottom, and then I'm looking to get a total of 4 turns, including that one at the bottom. So one on the bottom, this is the third one, and the fourth one, and then the last one's going to come over the gap I've left just in the thorax area there. So I'll bring my thread around to capture that in, couple of turns in front so it goes nowhere. Then I can come in with my scissors and just remove that. Now, before I go on to the next stage, what I want to do is get some of that squirrel coming out from the rib, nice and scruffy. I find they work even better, these kind of flies, after they've taken a couple of fish. You can, if you like, gink this up. I never bother. I like it to be right in the film. I don't want it lying on top of the water. I want it to be just under. And the weight of the hook will do that for you. Now, the thorax itself, what I've done is I've taken, this is a simplified dubbing box, comes in various colours, but I've taken the burnt orange, a little bit of maroon and a little bit of red, and just mixed them up into a dubbing mix, if you like. Is it necessary? Probably not. You know, you could probably just use burnt orange or simply red, whichever dubbing you fancy, but I like to just mix it up a little bit. It gives it a certain look. It's a fairly simple tie, this, actually. Once you've got your materials prepared, it's pretty simple. So I've dubbed that on to create my thorax, and I'm going to just come around and then catch that right up beside the foam. Now, to finish the fly, and the reason I'm using white floss is I want to finish in front at the hook point. So I'm going to come underneath my foam, I'm going to get a couple of turns in, and then before I whip finish, I'm going to just come in with a touch of super glue just to secure that head in. I'll get another couple of turns, and then I can come in with my whip finish tool. And this would work great on your local still waters, even on the larger still waters, I suppose. Anywhere where you've got some shrimp, it's worth giving a swim. Now I'm just going to come in. I don't want to pick up too much of my thorax, but I'm just going to tease out some of the fibres, pull away any excess, and there you've got a very useful suspender buzzer. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.